Good morning. Am I audible now? Okay. So in last class, we have started a discussion about the regional state that is Bengal. Okay, and we were discussing the same topic, Bengal. Now we are going to continue the same topic. And in Bengal, we have discussed a few concepts here. For example, we all know about the economic status and condition of regional state Bengal. We have already discussed about the political conditions in Bengal, right? There were powerful Nawabs, capable Nawabs, efficient Nawabs. Okay. We also have discussed about how gradually EIC was trying to establish its monopoly over Bengal, right? And they were taking, for example, Farman of 1717. This was the bone of contention. I have already discussed this, that how Farman of 1770 was the bone of contention between EIC and Nawabs of Bengal. Okay, here the issue of Dastaks was involved. We have already discussed it, and we see that gradually the East India Company will start developing fortifications around the trading settlements, and these things will ultimately result in a conflict. Okay, and we have discussed this concept that between this period 15 to 28 June 1756, what happened? Nawab Siraj's army, Nawab Siraj's army invaded the trading settlements of East India Company in Bengal region and established its control over there. And here we see a very important topic for prelims examination that has been earlier asked in your prelims examination, and that is black hole incident. We already have discussed it in the last class. Now we are going to continue the next topic, and here in next topic we see that there is another development, and that is known as Treaty of Alinagar. Okay, this we need to discuss. Treaty of Alinagar, then we'll discuss Battle of Plassey and all. Now Treaty of Alinagar was signed in Feb 1757. This is the time period of Treaty of Alinagar, Feb 1757. Now the Alinagar, what is the meaning of here Alinagar? Alinagar is the same area where the trading settlements of East India Company is present, where the Fort William is present. Now what will happen when Nawab Siraj will attack? He will establish his control over that entire region, and the EIC merchants were, okay, they were thrown back at the seas. This we already have discussed. Now, don't you think that the British East India Company and its authorities will again try to regain their lost control over their trading settlements? Yes, they will try to do so. And here, what we see that if there were three presidencies of British East India Company, there were three main centers. One was Bengal, the another was Madras, that is in South India, and the third was Bombay, that is in Western India. So obviously they will take help from Madras, they will take help from Bombay, and they will try to regain their lost authority and control. And Siraj did not realize this. Siraj established the control in June 1757, and he was not realizing the future danger, the coming danger, that what East India Company is capable of doing. Now Sirajuddaulah, okay, he was not understanding the future potential threat. Now what will happen? We see again the role of Clive will come here. We are already familiar with Clive. We are familiar with Clive, that how Clive played an important role in saving or protecting whom? Okay, the successor of Karnataka. Okay, Muhammad Ali. How he was rescued from the fort of Tiruchinappalli, and that was an excellent diplomatic skill and strategic skill of Clive. So Clive has already proved himself. Now he is getting the another opportunity. Now the East India Company will get reinforcements from Madras, will get reinforcements from Bombay, and what they will do in this month, in the month of Feb, they will again re-establish their lost control over Alinagar. They will again re-establish their lost control over Fort William. Okay, and here the Nawab of Bengal, who was Siraj, was forced to sign. Here the Nawab was forced, I am using this word, forced to sign a treaty, and that is Treaty of Alinagar. So who is more powerful here? Nawab or East India Company? East India Company. And this is a matter of great insult for the Nawab, because Nawab was forced to sign this treaty. Okay, it means that East India Company had forcefully acquired the same territory Alinagar. They have forcefully established their control over Fort William, and Nawab Siraj was not prepared for this. Okay, and that is what you can say, that a matter of great advantage for the East India Company. Now this treaty is a humiliating treaty, and in this treaty what will happen? In this treaty, what will be the terms and conditions of the treaty? You can easily assume here that what could be the provisions of the treaty. What could be the provisions of Treaty of Alinagar? You could assume, right? Provision number 1, Nawab validated EIC settlements in Bengal region. Nawab validated EIC settlements over the Bengal region. Nawab validated EIC settlements over Bengal region. And second point, right? EIC was given control over Fort William. It was approved by Nawab. EIC was given control over Fort William, and it was approved by Nawab. Okay, right? Third point. Now again, EIC officials. Third point. Now again, EIC officials were given the right to do free trade. EIC officials were again given the right to use dastaks. Okay, because when Nawab attacked na, so dastaks was prohibited for some time. Now officials were again given the right to use dastaks. Clear? They can use dastaks, and use here means what? They will do what? Misuse, and Nawab cannot stop them. Clear? Now this provision will not be asked in your exam. Only this question is asked in prelims to arrange the events in chronological order, right? So the provisions are not that much important. There are some technical points here also, but I'm not discussing that. Okay, because we'll not be able to use that. Now what we see is that this is a humiliating treaty for Nawab. And Siraj was a powerful Nawab. Yes, he was a powerful Nawab, but there was a weakness of Nawabs of Bengal. And what was that weakness? Okay, they were not familiar with what was going on around the world. It means company, through this East India Company, the government was trying to establish its political control, and the British government was setting up many colonies all over the world, and the Nawabs of Bengal were not familiar with this. It means they failed to realize the true character of East India Company rule in India. They failed to realize the true character of East India Company. They thought that East India Company was only a trading company, but in actuality, East India Company was having political ambitions as well, and they failed to realize this. Now, Nawab was ready to take the revenge, and East India Company was well familiar of this fact that Nawab will definitely take revenge, because Treaty of Alinagar is a humiliating treaty for Nawab. Now both sides were preparing for war. Siraj was also preparing for war, and East India Company was also preparing for war. Since this Treaty of Alinagar was a humiliating treaty, what we see here, that this Treaty of Alinagar, which was signed in this month, Feb 1757, it was a humiliating treaty for Siraj. It was a humiliating treaty for Siraj. So EIC was knowing that Siraj will definitely take revenge. AIC was knowing this, that Siraj will definitely take revenge. Siraj badla lega hi lega. Siraj will definitely take revenge. AIC was knowing this. Clear? And what Siraj was doing? Siraj was preparing its army for war. Siraj was preparing its army for war. Now the command was in the hands of Clive. The command of the company was in the hands of Clive. So Clive was having the commands of East India Company. East India Company. Now what will happen? On one side, Siraz was busy in preparing for war, and on other side, EIC, its officials were what they were doing. What they started making conspiracy against Siraz. So one side is preparing for war, and one side is making conspiracy that how to win this war without much bloodshed, right? How to win this war without incurring huge military expenses, because they were the traders. They will try to save their money. So what was doing here, right? EIC was involved in making conspiracy. Here EIC was involved in making conspiracy. Making conspiracy. So in the conspiracy, what they did, the military commander in chief, the military commander in chief of Siraz was Mir Zafar. Mir Zafar was the military commander in chief of Siraz. So EIC approached Mir Zafar that if you will support East India Company, we will do what? We will replace Siraz with you. You are the military commander in chief. Okay. So obviously the military commander in chief could never become the ruler, because there was Nawab and his family. Okay, there was a dynastic rule here. So here EIC is promising Mir Zafar, the military commander in chief, that if you support us, we'll do what? Okay, we will make you the next Nawab. Now Mir Zafar was ready, okay, to defeat Siraz. This is one point. Now the second important point, what company will do? Company will approach all important merchants, bankers, or rich persons of Bengal who were basically financing Siraz. Okay, because this is what you can say, the economic prosperity of Bengal depended on whom? The rich merchants, bankers, Jagat Seths, there is a word. Now company will contact them also, and company will say that if you will help East India Company, East India Company will provide you more economic prospects. We are connected with international market, so you can gain more profit if you will get yourself associated with East India Company. So it's a foolish idea to be with Siraz. Now what will happen? The merchants, bankers will also be a part of this conspiracy, and they are going to sell Siraz. इस बार किसको बेचने जा रहे हैं? वो सिराज को ही बेचने जा रहे हैं. Now they were also ready. Now what will happen? Now EIC will approach those courtiers in Nawab's court, okay, who were not happy with Siraz. They were knowing this, that which courtiers, which family members of Siraz are not happy with Siraz. So they will start approaching all them. One name Ghasiti Begum, Rai Durlab, there are so many names, Jagat Narayan, there are so many names. So what will happen? They will approach all those courtiers, family members and relatives, who were not happy with Siraz. They will approach all of them. Now the plan is all set. Now the East India Company is ready, that Mir Zafar will help and support. Now what will happen? On 23rd June 1757, this date is important, so highlight it as important date. 23rd June 1757. This date is also important. Year is important, but date is also important. 23rd June 1777. What will happen? Battle of Plassey will be fought. And here Plassey is a village. Okay? Plassey is the name of a village. Okay, in Murshidabad region of Bengal. That's why this battle is called Battle of Plassey. So the battle will be fought. Now what will happen in this battle? On one side there is EIC army. So the size of EIC army was small. EIC also used cannons here. The size of EIC army was small. And on one side there is Siraj's army, and the size of Siraj's army was, okay, larger than the EIC army. So this army was bigger in size in comparison to East India Company army. Okay, and both the forces will meet at Plassey. Now what will happen? Here the forces are led by Clive, and here the leader is Siraj. So this is Siraj. He is leading army, And then this is Mir Zafar, who is the military commander in chief. So he is at this position. This is Mir Zafar. Mir Zafar. And Mir Zafar was in the command of a large army. Siraj was supported by this army. Then army of Mir Zafar, and they were entering the battlefield. Now what will happen? Siraj will enter into the battlefield. Siraj will enter into the battlefield with this small army, but Mir Zafar, will he join Siraj? No. फ्राइडे का दिन था, मूवी देखने चला गया मीर जाफर विल नॉट ज्वाइन सिराज. नाउ व्हाट विल हैपन? ओके, सिराज वाज ट्रैप्ड इन द बैटलफील्ड. नाउ द सोल्जर्स वर इजीली डिफीटेड and Siraj was killed. Okay, Siraj was killed, and in this way East India Company got its first major or important military and political victory. This is the story. Okay, now there are facts here that in size of the army, the total number of soldiers, right, how many rifles they used, how many cannons they used. ठीक है, यूरोपियन सोल्जर्स कितने थे, ब्रिटिश सोल्जर्स कितने थे. यू डोंट नीड टू नो दीज फैक्ट्स. इसको याद करने लगोगे तो हिस्ट्री क्या हो जाएगी? इट विल बी डिफिकल्ट. वी डोंट नीड टू नो दैट. ठीक है, ओके. But on PPTs I will display the information so that you will get connected to the themes, but here we don't use to know that unnecessary fact. Now do you understand the entire story? Now tell me one thing. In this battle is marked as one of the most important battle in Indian history. Now we have to discuss the analysis part. That is important, right? Analysis of this war, this is important. Okay, we don't need to focus on facts here, independent facts here. So what we see here is that Siraj was killed. Siraj was killed, and now East India Company was victorious. East India Company was victorious. Okay, and this is an achievement of Clive. This is an achievement of Clive, and Clive will be awarded for this. Clive become what? Who was the first governor of Bengal? First governor of Bengal कौन था? It was Clive. So Clive will be awarded for this victory. He is the first governor of Bengal. Now, who will be the next Nawab? This is the question. So EIC will do what? EIC will appoint Mir Zafar as the next Nawab. Mir Zafar as the next Nawab. Okay. Now tell me, this Nawab is a real Nawab or a puppet Nawab? This Nawab is a puppet Nawab. Okay. Now I am asking you one thing, that EIC could declare itself as the Nawab, but why they used Mir Zafar as a puppet? Can you answer this question? What could be the possible reason behind this? Instead of yes, exactly. EIC was very smart. They were good learners. They have already learned the lesson from the Portuguese. So they were knowing that if we will declare ourselves as the Nawab, EIC will declare itself as a Nawab, then the people of Bengal will easily identify the true nature and character of EIC. That it's not a trading company. ये तो यहाँ शासन करने के लिए आए हैं. So what they will do? Okay, they will try to establish indirect control. And the second important thing, from, you can say that from years the people of Bengal were seeing a political system where they were knowing the Nawabs of Bengal as the rulers. Got it? So if we will change, if EIC will change this political system all of a sudden, what will happen? The dissatisfaction of the masses will increase. So this is the point. EIC will not do this. Instead of declaring itself as a Nawab, they will use a puppet, and this puppet is Mir Zafar. Now they have also learnt some lessons from Dupleix. When they will appoint a Nawab, Dupleix की policy याद आई कुछ? Okay, changing the ruler and ensuring the economic gains. And the components of these economic gains were commercial gains, monetary gains, territorial gains, individual gift and bribe. Don't you think that the Clive is going to do the same? Because Clive will use the policy of Dupleix. So when Mir Zafar will be declared Nawab, so EIC will do what? EIC will ensure economic gains from Mir Jafar. And we can further classify these economic gains into four parts like we have discussed previously. Okay, so EIC will ensure economic gains from Nawab. So first economic gain is what? Territorial gains. Territorial gains, right? That is the most important. And in territorial gains they will get a very prominent area of Bengal that is known as 24 Pargana. EIC will get zamindari rights. EIC will become zamindar of 24 Pargana region. So zamindar, EIC will get the zamindari rights of 24 Pargana region. 24 Pargana region. Now EIC is a zamindar also. It has got zamindari rights over 24 Pargana region. And we all know this fact, that is also very important, that in 1698 EIC had already got the zamindari rights of three villages, that is Sutnauti, Kalikata and Govindpur. Sutnauti. We already are familiar with this fact, Kalikata and Govindpur. Okay, this is an important fact. This can be asked in exam also. So in 1698, EIC had already got the zamindari rights of Sutnauti, Kalikata and Govindpur. Now they have got the zamindari rights of 24 Pargana region also. It is important or not? This is important. Now the second point is what? Read this, commercial gains. Commercial gains. Because EIC is basically a trading company. EIC is basically a trading company. So what is important for East India Company? Commercial gains. And what is the commercial gain? Now they can do unrestricted trade and commerce in the entire Bengal region. कोई रोकने वाला नहीं. They can do unrestricted trade and commerce. So that is the most important point. They can do unrestricted trade and commerce. They can do unrestricted trade and commerce. And why this unrestricted trade and commerce is most profitable for East India Company? Because Bengal was one of the rich province of that time. ठीक है, इसीलिए ये ज़्यादा इनके लिए फायदेमंद है. This will increase or maximize their profits. This will happen. Now the next important point is that, okay, now monetary gains. Read this, monetary gains. 50 lakh rupees. Mir Jafar will give 50 lakh rupees to East India Company. 50 lakh rupees to East India Company on account of this victory. 50 lakh rupees to the East India Company. And what about Clive? Clive will get individual gift and bribes also. Clive will get what? Individual gift. Many company officials will get individual gift. ठीक है, मीर जाफर से गिफ्ट मांगते रहते थे जब भी उनको जरूरत होती थी. So what EIC did? Okay, did the company spend its own money in financing this war? No. They used our money. They used our province, Bengal. हमारे ही पैसे से बंगाल को जीता. Got it? And who is supporting East India Company? Indian. Mir Jafar is supporting East India Company, right? And now East India Company, when it will extract money by this victory, this money will go where? This money will go to Britain. This is what? Drain of economic wealth from India. And if I ask you a question that this victory is important from military point of view or not, so what will be your answer? Is this victory important for military point of view? No, this victory is not important from military point of view, because this victory was ensured mainly through conspiracy. The actual battle was not fought because Mir Jafar did not join the battlefield with its army. So this victory is not important from military point of view. This victory was ensured by conspiracy. So that is one of the most important point. You can write that here the victory was not important. Here the victory was not important from military point of view. Here the victory was not important from military point of view. Okay, because Battle of Plassey was won mainly through conspiracies. Because Battle of Plassey was won mainly through conspiracies. So that is not important. Okay, it was won mainly through conspiracies. Okay, now this battle holds a very important place in Indian history. 23rd June 1757, this battle holds a very important place in Indian history. This battle holds a very important place in Indian history. Why? Because from here what we see, the consequences of this battle are very much important. Why I am saying the consequences of this battle is very much important? Because from here EIC emerges as a political power in India. Before this, EIC was a trading company only, but here EIC is a ruling company also, but here EIC will rule indirectly, right? So from when it will start ruling directly, I will also discuss that. So you can also say that this victory is very much important because of its consequences and results. Consequences and results. This victory is very much important because of its consequences and result. And why we are saying this? Because read this. Okay, some historians mark it as the beginning of British rule in India, or beginning of EIC's rule in India. Read this. Some historians have marked it as the beginning of British rule in India. That is very important. That historians are marking it as the beginning of British rule in India. Okay. Some historians also writes that from 23rd June 1757, modern ages started in India. Modern age. From 23rd June 1757, modern age started in India. Some historians also write this. But it was modern age or not, we will discuss later. That is it proper to call it a modern age? We will discuss this later. कि modern age कहना इसको सही है कि नहीं, right? Now, the loyalty will vanish from the Bengal capital or not? Yes, the loyalty vanished, because this is what Mir Zafar, when he will deceit Sirajuddaulah, so this is, you can say that loyalty vanished from the court. अगर धोखा दे के मैं नवाब बनूंगा तो मुझे इस बात का हमेशा डर लगा रहेगा कि मेरे जो सबऑर्डिनेट्स हैं वो भी तो मुझे धोखा देके नवाब बन सकते हैं. ठीक है, तो वो जो डाउट और सस्पिशन, ओके, ये वाला जो माहौल है ये ज्यादा बढ़ जाएगा. लॉयल्टी विल वैनिश, है ना, एंड डाउट्स एंड सस्पिशंस विल ग्रो इनसाइड द नवाब्स कोर्ट. राइट दिस पॉइंट. लॉयल्टी will vanish, loyalty will vanish, and doubts and suspicion, doubts and suspicion, doubts and suspicion, okay, will, doubts and suspicion will be prominent in Nawab's court. Doubts and suspicion were prominent in Nawab's court. And now EIC, the role of EIC was in the role of kingmakers. EIC was in the role of kingmakers. EIC was in the role of kingmakers. And write one more point, that the process of economic exploitation of India started from here. The process of economic exploitation of India started from here. Okay, the process of economic exploitation of India started from here. Now I'm going to discuss another concept, that is, we will relate two things. Okay, one battle is the Battle of Plassey. Battle of Plassey, that is 23rd June 1757, and the second battle is Battle of Buxar. Right, these two battles are very much important, and the date here is 22nd October 1764. So these are two battles. So what happened between this period, we need to understand what happened between this period. Okay, the basic concept we need to understand. I am only discussing those facts which are very important for you. Okay, now देखो, those who are writing UPSC exam, they can get all the facts here, but if you are writing state PCS exam, so simply you will do what? You will practice MCQs, and if you understand the theme, you can easily रिमेंबर द फैक्ट्स। अगर स्टेट पीसेस में थोड़े डीप फैक्ट्स वो पूछते भी हैं तो आप आसानी से याद कर सकते हो वंस यू अंडरस्टैंड द इंटायर क्रोनोलॉजी एंड द डेवलपमेंट। ठीक है ना? ओके, नाउ आई एम द क्लास इज स्लोअर, आई एम नॉट टीचिंग वेरी फास्ट like usually I do in the other classes. Okay, so that there is no need to read any book. क्लास में जितना पढ़ रहे हो उतना ही पढ़ो and this will cater to all your needs. ठीक है ना? It's better to take 4 or 5 more classes, okay, so that you don't need to read the books. Now what happened during this period? Now who is the new Nawab? New Nawab is Mir Zafar. Mir Zafar is the new Nawab. Now we know this. Mir Zafar is the new Nawab. Okay, he was a puppet Nawab. Become Nawab in which year? 1757. He was a puppet Nawab. ठीक है, puppet Nawab becomes Nawab in 1757. Already he has given many economic benefits for the East India Company. Now just imagine that if East India Company will do unrestricted trade and commerce in Bengal, will they allow the presence of other European merchants in Bengal? No. Okay, they will try to monopolize the market of Bengal. In that case, when only, for example, suppose we are peasants and we are in sitting in the Bengal market to sell raw silk. मान लो हमने raw silk बेचना है and the buyers are Portuguese, Dutch, English, French. So the bargaining power will be in the hands of the sellers. We are selling raw silk, but when the buyer will be only one, that is English East India Company, so what will happen? The bargaining power will be in the hands of the seller or buyer. And second, the buyer East India Company is kingmaker. They have appointed a puppet Nawab. So is it a possibility that they can also forcefully purchase our raw materials at a price which they will dictate? Yes. And this will ultimately create a revenue loss for Bengal. होगा, बंगाल को रेवेन्यू लॉस होगा. What about dastaks? They will do use or misuse? They will misuse it. Okay. And what about gifts? अगर आपसे कोई बार बार गिफ्ट मांगने लगे, किसी का बर्थडे आपने गिफ्ट दे दिया, ठीक है, फिर 10 दिन बाद कहा यार मैं मंथली बर्थडे सेलिब्रेट कर रहा हूँ, ऑन द सेम डे मुझे फिर से गिफ्ट दो, क्या होगा? नहीं दोगे ना. नाउ द EIC ऑफिशियल्स आर डूइंग व्हाट? दे आर आस्किंग फॉर ब्राइब्स, दे आर आस्किंग फॉर गिफ्ट्स फ्रॉम नवाब कि पैसा दे दो यार, कुछ जरूरत है, कुछ गिफ्ट विफ्ट दो. मीर जाफर परेशान. मीर जाफर डर भी रहा था. मीर जाफर वॉज फियरिंग ऑल्सो that his subordinates could support East India Company and they may replace him as the Nawab. Okay, so he was also fearing by this. ठीक है, ठीक है, धोखेबाज आदमी को हमेशा धोखे का डर लगा रहता है. So this was the condition of Mir Zafar. And second, the Bengal revenue, the treasury was becoming empty. Okay, now Mir Zafar realized that, okay, I have taken a wrong decision by becoming नवाब ऑफ बंगाल. आई शुड नॉट बी अ नवाब ऑफ बंगाल. काहे का नवाब? अकाउंट में पैसा ही नहीं है, काहे का नवाब? ठीक है. मीर जाफर बहुत टेंशन में है. नाउ मीर जाफर विल डू व्हाट? मीर जाफर विल अप्रोच डच ट्रेडर्स से मिलेगा. एंड डच आर ऑल्सो वेरी मच डिससेटिस्फाइड विथ EIC मर्चेंट्स. नाउ मीर जाफर विल अप्रोच डच and will say that if you will help me, I can keep the EIC merchants out from Bengal region. डच से कहा कि तुम लोग मेरी हेल्प करो और अंग्रेजों को भगा देते हैं यहाँ से. डच विल से दैट यस वी विल हेल्प यू. बट EIC के इन्फॉर्मेंट्स बहुत तगड़े थे. उन्होंने बता दिया कि मीर जाफर इज प्लानिंग अ कॉन्स्पिरेसी विथ डच. EIC ने कहा अच्छा, सबसे पहले डच को ही एलिमिनेट करते हैं. देन EIC fought a battle. What is the name of the battle that it fought with Dutch? 1759 is the year. Can you recall the name of the battle? Battle of Bedara. याद आया कुछ? Battle of Bedara was fought in which year? 1759. डच को हरा दिया, उससे आप दोस्ती कर सकते थे. Okay. And what about Battle of Wandiwas? 1760. It was a decisive war or indecisive war? It was a decisive war. So they defeated Dutch in the Battle of Bedara 1759. They defeated French, okay, in the Battle of Wandiwas 1760. और फिर मीर जाफर को कहा और दोस्त बनाओ. किससे दोस्ती कर लोगे तुम? Okay, Now Mir Zafar's plan was exposed. Okay, now what will happen? Okay, now EIC will decide कि this Nawab is not good. ये puppet तो है नहीं, ठीक है, और हमें क्या चाहिए? Puppet Nawab चाहिए. Now the son-in-law of Mir Zafar, the name of that person was Mir Qasim. So Mir Qasim was aspiring to become Nawab. Mir Qasim नवाब बनना चाहता था. उसको फोन लगाया, कहा भाई मीर कासिम नवाब बनना चाहते हो, ससुर जी को हटा दे तुम्हारे. He said that हाँ भाई मैं नवाब बनना चाहता हूँ. Then what happened? Mir Qasim will replace Mir Zafar. Year is what? 1760. And do you understand the entire circumstances in which Mir Zafar was replaced with Mir Qasim? Now this is an important fact that 1757 Mir Zafar is Nawab, and 1760, right here, 1760 Mir Zafar was replaced with Mir Qasim. Mir Zafar was replaced with Mir Qasim. Mir Zafar was replaced with Mir Qasim. And here a context I have already discussed with you, that Mir Zafar was gradually dissatisfied. He was dissatisfied. He was dissatisfied by the excessive interference. He was dissatisfied by the excessive interference of EIC. The treasury was revenue loss. You can write revenue loss. He was also dissatisfied by this revenue loss, and he also tried to get the support of Dutch. But finally, the British will fight a battle, that is Battle of Pedara, in the year 1759, and Dutch, okay, claimants will be, okay, the Dutch challenge was abolished. Okay, अब डच की हिम्मत नहीं है दोबारा नवाब ऑफ बंगाल को सपोर्ट करने की. नाउ दिस plan of Mir Zafar is exposed. Now the plan of Mir Zafar is exposed. So he was replaced with his son-in-law, and the name of son-in-law was Mir Qasim. He was replaced with his son-in-law, and the name of son-in-law is Mir Qasim. Mir Qasim. Got it? Now, what will happen? When Mir Qasim will become the new Nawab, again he is a puppet Nawab or not? He is a puppet Nawab. So who is the kingmaker? Again he is a puppet Nawab. So the kingmakers are, he is a puppet Nawab. So the kingmakers are East India Company. East India Company is kingmaker. Okay. Now, Clive has two phases where he was the governor. One was 1757 to 1760, another 1765 to 1767. ऐसे दो phases है उसके Clive के. So this you must know that Clive was the governor first during 1757, 1760, and then 1765 to 1767. This you can write in a chart. This is two phases. This is phase 1 and this is phase 2. Phase 1 and phase 2. Okay. Phase 1 and phase 2. Very simple fact. Now, Mir Qasim is the, yes, please ask. Exactly. Okay. I will discuss dual system of government in Bengal. So that was led down by Clive, the year 1765. ठीक है ना? तो वहाँ confusion no, इसलिए मैंने आपको बता दिया. Now, when Mir Qasim will become the Nawab, okay, he will again give what? Economic gains to EIC. Economic gains to EIC. He will again provide economic gains to EIC. Okay. He will provide some money. Okay. He will provide some cash money. It is said, some historians write that EIC got silver coins from Nawabs, which they used to carry in boats. इतने ज़्यादा silver coins मिले उनको. 50 boats, 100 boats laden with the silver coins they were taking from Bengal state. Okay, so obviously this will have an adverse impact on the economy. Now Mir Qasim was the Nawab. After some time, Mir Qasim also realized that I have also committed a mistake by becoming Nawab, because they are again and again frequently asking for what? Money, gift. Okay, and the revenue loss, the state is continuously facing what? Revenue loss, plus they are also creating troubles for the local merchants. And when the local merchants will come to you, that नवाब बचाओ मुझे अंग्रेजों से, अंग्रेजों के अत्याचार से, then the नवाब could do nothing. तो किस बात के नवाब हुए आप, right? So Mir Qasim realized that East India Company is creating a lot of challenges. Now in 1763, year was 1763, there was some minor conflicts between Mir Qasim and East India Company. कुछ minor conflicts भी हुए because Mir Qasim was now opposing the injustices done by East India Company in India. ठीक है, he was opposing. Now he has also started opposing the injustices done by East India Company in India. Now Mir Qasim was knowing this, that okay, British East India Company is doing excessive interference in the administration of Bengal. Now he will think that what could be the possible solution to prevent this situation? What could be the possible solution? So he thought that if transfer of capital is done, for example, okay, the Bengal capital was Murshidabad. So he thought that if I will transfer this capital from Murshidabad to Munger region, Munger is in Bihar, this was in Bengal, and this was in Bihar. So he also transferred the capital from Murshidabad to Munger. Why? Because Munger will be a distant place away from the settlements of East India Company. So he thought that EIC will do least interference here. Least interference. Okay. So he tried this formula also, that EIC will do least interference, but this formula was also not successful. ठीक है, पीछा नहीं छूटने वाला, अंग्रेज बिल्कुल प्रेत की तरह है, कहीं चले जाओ पीछा नहीं छोड़ेंगे. Now this formula was also not successful. Now he thought that the second outlook is what? Now Mir Qasim thought that if I will get help and support of other regional powers or Mughal emperor, right, we can just keep the British out from Bengal, out from India. Now he is thinking of making an anti-British alliance. This is the idea. Now Mir Qasim thought that we should make an anti-British alliance. This is the next idea, anti-British alliance. Now who will join this alliance? Here, that is the next important thing. So one is, okay, Mir Qasim himself. He was the Nawab of Bengal. He will be a part of this alliance. The second party in this alliance will be Suzaud-Dawla. This is the name. The name is very important. Suzaud-Dawla. He was the ruler of Awadh. Ruler of Awadh. And Awadh was one of the most important province at that time. He was the ruler of Awadh, Suzaud-Dawla. Right? And the third person who is going to join this alliance will be Mughal emperor himself. And the name of this Mughal emperor was Shah Alam II. So this is what? Mughal emperor himself. Shah Alam II will join, okay, this anti-British alliance. One is Mir Qasim, the second is Suzaud-Dawla, and the third is Mughal emperor Shah Alam II. अब यहाँ ये सोच के खुश नहीं होना है कि मुगल एम्परर बहुत पावरफुल था. There is an important saying about this Mughal emperor that Sultanat e Shah Alam as Dilli Tapalam. It means Shah Alam political control and territories were extended from Delhi to Palam region. इतने ही दूर में वो सुल्तान बादशाह था. By name he was Badshah of India, but ठीक है, वो he was controlling, he was a weaker ruler. So here there are three powers: Mir Qasim, Suzaud-Dawla, and this was a powerful ruler. Out of these three, who is the most powerful? Suzaud-Dawla. He was the most powerful. मीर कासिम से भी ज्यादा पावरफुल कौन है? सुजाउद्दौला. मुगल एम्परर शाह आलम II से भी ज्यादा पावरफुल कौन है? सुजाउद्दौला. Okay, now they will decide that we will fight a war with British, okay, East India Company, and we will eliminate East India Company from India. We will keep the British out from India. Now the second battle will be fought by these three collective forces. Now the second battle. Now they thought that this solution will work. Now they will fight a war with East India Company, and this war was fought on 22nd October 1764. This is, and this date is also important, 22nd October 1764. This war was fought on this date, 22nd October 1764. That is Battle of Buxar. And here, this war is important from military point of view or not? So the answer is yes. In this war, EIC did not use any conspiracy. EIC ने कहा बहुत आरोप लगा लिए कॉन्स्पिरेसी का, इस बार असली लड़ाई होगी, ठीक है. एंड इंडियन रूलर्स विल बी एक्सपोज. दे वेर ऑलरेडी फैमिलियर विद द वीकनेसेस. उनको पहले से पता था, ग्राउंड वर्क करके आए थे. नाउ this war is important, right? This war is important from military point of view. This war is important from military point of view. This war was not conspiracy or trickery, was not a part of this war. Here what we see that was EIC got victory. EIC was a victorious power here. EIC was a victorious power, and EIC defeated three collective forces. EIC defeated three collective forces in India, and out of these three collective forces, one was the Mughal emperor himself. ठीक है, one was the Mughal emperor himself. Now, don't you think that this will give a message to the Indian people? That what is the message? After 1707, when Aurangzeb declined, later Mughals, what was happening? Disintegration of Mughal power. A political vacuum was created. Regional states were rising. Okay. And now there was an important question that who will fill this political vacuum? Okay. Now the people were thinking that Marathas will be able to fill this political vacuum. But this victory in Battle of Buxar, where East India Company has defeated Mughal Emperor also, this will expose the weakness of the central authority. मुगल एम्परर को डिफीट करने के मायने बहुत हैं. दिस विल एक्सपोज द वीकनेस ऑफ द सेंट्रल अथॉरिटी. नवाब बंगाल वाज वन ऑफ द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट प्रोविंस. Defeating Nawab of Bengal, Awadh was a powerful state, defeating ruler of Awadh. This is collective forces were defeated, and now this will give a message to the Indian people that who is going to fill the political vacuum in India? East India Company is going to fill this political vacuum in India. Okay, so write this. This victory established this notion that this victory is very important, because it established this notion that okay, EIC is going to fill the political vacuum. This victory established this notion that EIC is going to fill the political vacuum that has been created. EIC is going to fill the political vacuum that has been created by the declining Mughal authority. That has been created by the declining Mughal authority. Okay, that's the most important thing. And this victory was it more validated in comparison to the Battle of Plassey? Yes. Battle of Plassey was always questioned कि आपने धोखे से जीत लिया है. But this victory will not be questioned because it is important from the military point of view. So that is the most important point. Write this. Previously, victory in Battle of Plassey was always questioned. Previously, victory in Battle of Plassey was always questioned. Victory in Battle of Plassey was always questioned. But the victory in Battle of Buxar was more validated, and it will not be questioned. The victory in Battle of Buxar is more validated, and it will not be questioned. It will not be questioned. Okay. So if I use a statement, and the statement is Battle of Buxar confirmed the victory of Battle of Plassey. Correct or incorrect? Do you understand this statement? Why I am making this statement? Battle of Buxar confirmed the victory of the Battle of Plassey. This is the sense, you can write this point, that Battle of Buxar confirmed, Battle of Buxar confirmed the victory in the Battle of Plassey. Battle of Buxar confirmed the victory in the Battle of Plassey. It confirmed the victory in the Battle of Plassey. Okay. Now, what will happen after this battle? Again, some important changes will be introduced. And what are the important changes here? Okay. What are the important changes after 22nd October 1764? What are the important changes we need to understand? There is a question bank, that is Ghatna Chakra, okay, Indian history, and in that book there are questions of UPSC as well as all the state PCS. So you can get that question booklet, that is all the questions are solved there, and you will first practice UPSC questions. It has been written at the end of every question about which year or like this. So you will practice first which question? UPSC question. तो आपकी तैयारी की जो रणनीति है, द स्ट्रैटेजी ऑफ योर मेकिंग प्रिपरेशन शुड बी गाइडेड बाय यूपीएससी क्वेश्चंस, उसको देख के चलना है, राइट? And then once you do practice of all the UPSC question multiple times, then you will also try to read state PCS questions, mainly UPPCS questions, right? ठीक है, UPPCS में एक होता है अपर सबऑर्डिनेट एग्जाम, तो उसके बारे में भी आप अपर सबऑर्डिनेट वाले क्वेश्चंस को प्रैक्टिस करोगे, ठीक है ना? And in the same book you will get questions in ancient India, medieval India, modern India, ठीक है? So practicing PYQs is very much important. Okay, apart from understanding the concepts, to do practice, you can get it on Amazon पे भी available है, so you can get it, ठीक है ना? Right? So you must have question bank, क्योंकि पहले क्या आएगा, मेंस आएगा या प्रीलिम्स आएगा? प्रीलिम्स आएगा ना, ठीक है? तो you must be well prepared for the prelims exam, ठीक है? ऐसा नहीं सोचना है कि पहले मेंस के महारथी बन जाओगे फिर प्रीलिम्स की तैयारी करोगे, पता चले मेंस के महारथी बनने के बाद प्रीलिम्स निकालने में 2-3 साल लग गया फिर, है ना? तो all these things should be simultaneous, ठीक है? Now by the classes you can easily write answer और सारे questions हो जाएंगे, ठीक है? ऐसा नहीं है, but still you should try to practice more and more questions. Now what are the important changes? Now again what we see here, there is an interesting change, that Mir Qasim was replaced by Mir Zafar again. ठीक है, दोबारा से ये मीर जाफर को लेके आए, ये बड़ी मजेदार बात है। मीर जाफर को कन्विंस किया, ठीक है? मीर जाफर ऑल्सो थॉट दैट गुमनामी की जिंदगी जीने से अच्छा है नवाब दोबारा बन जाया जाए, तो दे कन्विंस्ड मीर जाफर एंड मीर जाफर ज्वाइंड अगेन। अच्छा, मीर जाफर के दोबारा आने का मतलब क्या है? दे कन्विंस्ड मीर जाफर। जो डिससेटिस्फाइड थे इस बात से कि मीर जाफर को नवाब की पोजीशन से हटा के मीर कासिम को जबरदस्ती लाया गया है, तो उससे क्या होगा, डिससेटिस्फेक्शन लेवल भी क्या हो जाएगा, कम हो जाएगा। दिस इज वन रीजन। मीर जाफर वाज समहाउ कन्विंस्ड एंड नाउ मीर जाफर वाज रेडी टू assume nawabship, but the problem is that he died shortly, he died shortly, he died shortly, and okay, then British will do what? British will appoint his minor son as नवाब। मीर जाफर का एक बेटा था मीरन, ठीक है? तो ही वॉज ऑलरेडी किल्ड इन द बैटलफील्ड, पहले ही मारा जा चुका था। सो नाउ दे विल अपॉइंट हिज माइनर सन एंड द नेम ऑफ दिस माइनर सन इज नजीमुद्दौला, एंड दिस नेम इज वेरी मच इंपॉर्टेंट। नजीमुद्दौला, रेड दिस, नजीमुद्दौला, नजीमुद्दौला, यस यस, हु? किसको? मिर्जा, ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी, again East India Company is doing this, so they are again, exactly, they are doing this. That's why I am using the word kingmakers for East India Company, and they are doing this very smartly. They are not directly controlling the power because the sentiments of the local population will go against them, so they are doing this very smartly. Here they have appointed Mir Zafar, but Mir Zafar died soon, and then he was replaced by his minor son, and that is Nazimud-Dawla. Why this name is important? Nazimud-Dawla, वहाँ पे एक fact लिख लो. When Treaty of Allahabad was signed, who was the Bengal Nawab? So the answer is Nazimud-Dawla. ठीक है ना? So write this. When Treaty of Allahabad was signed, I will also discuss this topic. That is in this year 1765. So when Treaty of Allahabad was signed, who was the Nawab of Bengal? So the answer is Nazimud-Dawla. उस समय नजीमुद्दौला ही था. दिस इज अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन. यहाँ कंफ्यूजन हो जाता है, ठीक है, बिकॉज ईयर इज द सेम, मंथ इज डिफरेंट, दैट्स वाई देयर इज अ कंफ्यूजन. तो हमेशा याद रखना नजीमुद्दौला वाज नवाब. नाउ अगेन व्हाट वी सी हियर, वी नोटिस अ ट्रेंड दैट instead of directly assuming nawabship, EIC is appointing what? Nawabs of Bengal. Why? Because the sentiments of local population not go against them. They were very smart. Now what will happen after this battle? An important treaty will be signed. Okay, an important treaty will be signed, and that treaty is known as Treaty of Allahabad. Write this. This treaty is important. In prelims you can get questions from this. Okay, Treaty of Allahabad. Okay, and this treaty was signed in the year 1765. Read this. 1765. The month was August. August 1765. This treaty was signed, and this treaty is very much important. August 1765. This treaty was signed, and why this treaty is important, we need to understand. So देखो why this treaty is signed. So this treaty is not a single treaty, but this treaty is a set of two treaties. This treaty is a set of two treaties. ठीक है. Dates are different, but we don't need to know the dates. ठीक है, इतना याद रख लो. 1765 and the month was August. ठीक है ना. Now this is the set of two treaties. One treaty, write this, two treaties का set है. So Treaty 1 and Treaty 2, these are two treaties. Treaty 1 and Treaty 2. Now the first treaty was signed with, okay, Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II. The first treaty was signed with Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II. ठीक है. And the second treaty was signed with Awadh's ruler. The second treaty was signed with Awadh's ruler. And what is the name of Awadh's ruler? So the answer is Saud-Dawla. Okay, so this is a set of two treaties signed with two different rulers. मीर कासिम की तो कहानी खत्म. ठीक है ना, उससे ट्रीटी साइन करने की कोई जरूरत नहीं है. नाउ a basic understanding of this treaty will give us an idea about the diplomatic approach of East India Company, that how much diplomatic East India Company was in its approach. Okay, so let's discuss a very simple story. And what is the story? There are two powers, one is eliminated. There are two powers. Awadh is a powerful state, and the second is Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II. He is not powerful but symbolic importance. He is the Mughal Emperor in the eyes of the people, in the eyes of the Indian people. Who is Mughal Emperor? Shah Alam II. ठीक है, लोगों की नजर में तो वही एम्परर है. तो इसका होना क्या है? दिस सिंबॉलिक इंपॉर्टेंस, सिंबॉलिक सिग्निफिकेंस इसका बहुत ज्यादा है. सिंबॉलिक सिग्निफिकेंस. Why I am saying symbolic significance? Because he was the Mughal emperor in the eyes of the Indian people. Indian people. तो इंडियन लोगों को भी डिससेटिस्फाई नहीं किया. गॉट इट. देखो क्या कर रहे हैं. ओके, दूसरी तरफ बंगाल की कहानी बता चुका हूं. दे अगेन ब्रॉट व्हाट? न्यू नवाब हु वाज बिलोंगिंग टू द फैमिली ऑफ द प्रीवियस नवाब. ओके, बंगाल के लोगों को भी नहीं नाराज किया. राइट, अवध के लोगों को भी नहीं नाराज करेंगे, बिकॉज विथ अवध दे विल मेक अवध अ फ्रेंडली स्टेट. फ्रेंडली स्टेट, एंड आई एम गोइंग टू डिस्कस ऑल दिस कॉन्सेप्ट व्हाट हैपेंड. Friendly state. Now, these are defeated powers. Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II is what? Defeated power. Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II is a defeated power. What about Suzaud-Dawla? Again, Suzaud-Dawla, defeated power. Defeated power. And we all know this is the law of the war, that the victorious powers will put the conditions of the treaty before you. Okay, now what is happening? Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II. Now This was a long cherished dream of Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II to get territories. One was Kara or Kara, and the second was Allahabad. These two territories, Kara and Allahabad, were in the control of Awadh's ruler. देखो बहुत आसान सा कॉन्सेप्ट है, पहले समझना है इसको. देखो, these are two territories. One territory name is Kara and the second is Allahabad. These are two territories, Kara and Allahabad, and they were a part of Awadh's empire. They were under the control of Awadh's ruler. ये दोनों territories किसके कंट्रोल में है? Both these territories are in the control of Awadh's ruler. And what is happening here? This is Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II. Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II. And Shah Alam II wants to have these territories. वो चाहता है कि करा और इलाहाबाद मुझे मिल जाए, बट दिल को खुश रखने का गालिब ख्याल अच्छा है. आप पावरफुल हो नहीं, ये आपको कैसे मिलेगा? You will have to take it from Awadh's ruler, and Awadh state is more powerful. Okay, Mughal Emperor could not muster the courage to ask Awadh's ruler कि ये टेरिटरी मेरा है, मुझे चाहिए. इतनी हिम्मत नहीं पड़ती थी. ठीक है. Now what will happen? East India Company will intervene. EIC will come and will approach Shah Alam II and they will say that साहब हमने सुना है कि आप इलाहाबाद और कारा का डिस्ट्रिक्ट चाहते हैं बहुत लंबे समय से, आपकी ये ख्वाहिश है, यू वांट टू गेट कंट्रोल ओवर इलाहाबाद एंड कारा डिस्ट्रिक्ट. मुगल एम्परर ने कहा यार मुझे तो लगा ये मुझे पनिश करने आए हैं, ये तो रिवॉर्ड देने चले आए. ओके, ये तो पूछ रहे हैं तुम्हारे और सपने क्या क्या है. मुगल एम्परर वाज सरप्राइज्ड. He was thinking that the EIC authorities will punish him, but instead of punishing him, what EIC officials are asking that Saab, we have heard that you have a long cherished dream of controlling Kara and Allahabad. Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II said that yes, this is my dream, but what I can do? This is in the control of Awadh's ruler. ये तो अवध के रूलर के पास है. East India Company said that don't worry, we will help you in getting these territories. Okay, we will ask Awadh's ruler to surrender these territories for you. अवध के रूलर से हम कहेंगे कि ये दोनों टेरिटरीज सरेंडर कर दे. किसके लिए? मुगल एम्परर शाह आलम II के लिए. शाह आलम II तो खुश हो गया, कहा यार पनिशमेंट की जगह क्या मिल रहा है? रिवॉर्ड. ओके, so what EIC promised in this treaty that we will ask Awadh's ruler to surrender Kara and Allahabad to you, and then EIC will sign treaty with Awadh ruler, and EIC will ask Suzaudullah that will have to surrender Kara and Allahabad for Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II. तुमको देना पड़ेगा Shah Alam II को ये दोनों territories. Awadh was a defeated power. Awadh said that yes, I will give. मैं ये territories surrender करूंगा. ठीक है. तो अवध से दो टेरिटरीज लेके किसको दे दी? मुगल एम्परर शाह आलम II को. अब बताओ इसमें डिप्लोमेसी क्या है? अब आप बताओ. मान लो यशस्विनी और आकाश दोनों बहुत अच्छे दोस्त हैं, ठीक है, और यशस्विनी के घर का 3rd फ्लोर मैं कब्जा करके आकाश को दिलवा दूं, तो इनकी दोस्ती बनी रहेगी? बताओ कि टूट जाएगी? दिस विल क्रिएट फ्यूचर एनिमिटी बिटवीन दीज टू पावर्स. दे विल नेवर बिकम फ्रेंड्स इन फ्यूचर. क्योंकि अवध की टेरिटरी किसको मिल गई? शाह आलम II को. शाह आलम II ने तो मांगा ही नहीं था, अंग्रेजों ने खुद ही दिलवा दिया. मेरी बात समझ गया ना? दिस विल क्रिएट a future enmity between these two powers. They will not become friends again. यही क्या है? डिवाइड एंड रूल. डिवाइड एंड रूल केवल हिंदू मुस्लिम में नहीं ढूंढना है, इधर भी ढूंढना है. मेरी बात समझ गया ना? ठीक है. सो दिस इज डिवाइड एंड रूल. ओके, सो राइट हियर. ओके, राइट, ट्रीटी प्रोविजन नंबर 1. राइट, प्रोविजन नंबर 1, राइट दिस. द टेरिटरीज ऑफ कारा एंड Allahabad were given to Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II. The territories of Allahabad and Kara were given to Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II. Were given to Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II. Now you understand the context here. Okay. The territories of Allahabad and Kara were given to Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II. इसके बाद कंपनी ने कहा कि साहब हमने तो आपको इलाहाबाद और कारा दे दिया, एंड नाउ वी वांट टू हेल्प यू. हम आपकी हेल्प करना चाहते हैं. मुगल एम्परर शाह आलम II ने कहा अब कैसे और हेल्प करना चाहते हो यार, बता दो, मुझे तो अच्छा ही लग रहा है, मेरा ही फायदा हो रहा है. Now company will say that we'll have to sign a document. Mughal Emperor Shah Alam said, which document? Company said that you will authorize East India Company to collect land revenue from Bengal, Bihar, and Odisha region. Okay, you will authorize us to collect land revenue. It means you will have to sign this document where East India Company will get land revenue collection rights, and we will use a word for this, that is दीवानी rights. ठीक है, एंड पहले सुन लो, स्टोरी सुन लो. ठीक है, मैं वही चीजें बता रहा हूँ जो आपके एग्जाम के लिए इंपॉर्टेंट है. ठीक है, बाकी सारी चीजें मैं एलिमिनेट करता जा रहा हूँ. तो यू विल हैव टू साइन अ डॉक्यूमेंट. क्लास में ही याद करना है. थोड़ा क्लास में लंबा लूंगा, मीन्स 2 4 10 क्लास आगे बढ़ेंगी, बट आपको सेल्फ स्टडी नहीं करना पड़ेगा. दिस इज मेरी माई पर्पस. ठीक है, तो what he is saying that you will have to sign a document, and okay, and Bengal, Bihar, Odisha, the land revenue collection rights who will get? East India Company will get. And company also said that Saab, we will pay you for that. आलम टू खुश हो गया, कहा यार ऐसे भी कोई रेवेन्यू मुझे दे नहीं रहा है. ठीक है, अज दिल्ली ता पालम, इतना ही कंट्रोल रह गया है मेरा. एनडीआईसी इज सेइंग वी विल पे यू 26 लाख रुपीज एनुअली फॉर दिस. आलम टू ने कहा मजा आ गया मुझे तो, वैसे मुझे कोई सीरियसली ले नहीं रहा था, एंड कंपनी विल पे 26 लाख रुपीज. एआईसी नाउ आलम टू विल गेट रेडी. कहा ठीक है मैं साइन करूंगा, कहाँ है डॉक्यूमेंट, जल्दी लाओ. नाउ व्हाट विल हैपन, द नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, एआईसी विल से और भी पैसा देंगे आपको, इतना ही नहीं और भी ज्यादा देंगे. नाउ शालम टू सेड दैट, और क्या करना पड़ेगा भाई? कंपनी सेड दैट द एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव राइट्स, दैट इज निजामत राइट्स, apart from collection of revenue, will also give us the right, okay, to help Bengal, Bihar, Odisha, basically Bengal region, to help the rulers of Bengal region to maintain the administrative works. कहा तुम हमें ऑथराइज कर दो और हम बंगाल के रूलर की हेल्प करेंगे. किस काम में हेल्प करेंगे? तो रेवेन्यू के अलावा जो एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन के अफेयर्स हैं उनको मेंटेन करने में हम हेल्प करेंगे उनकी. और हेल्प हम करेंगे किसकी? बंगाल के रूलर की. और उसके बदले में फी किसको देंगे? तुमको देंगे. कितना देंगे? दे सेड दैट 53 लाख रुपीज. यहाँ भी हम आपको देंगे. ओके, नाउ व्हाट विल हैपन? सालम टू विल साइन द डॉक्यूमेंट. बट आई विल लेटर डिस्कस दैट इससे क्या होने वाला है. राइट दीज टू प्रोविजंस ऑफ द ट्रीटी ऑल्सो. राइट प्रोविजन नंबर 2. राइट, ओके. Shah Alam II signed a document in which Shah Alam II signed a document in which Shah Alam II signed a document which gave EIC. Shah Alam II signed a document which gave EIC Diwani rights. Diwani rights, which gave EIC Diwani rights. And Diwani rights means land revenue collection rights, which gave EIC Diwani rights. लैंड रेवेन्यू कलेक्शन राइट्स. ओके, दीवानी राइट्स का मतलब क्या हो गया? लैंड रेवेन्यू कलेक्शन राइट्स विच गेव ईआईसी दीवानी राइट्स ऑफ बंगाल प्लस बिहार प्लस उड़ीसा रीजन. बंगाल प्लस बिहार प्लस उड़ीसा रीजन. बंगाल प्लस बिहार प्लस उड़ीसा रीजन. ठीक है, राइट. सेकेंड पॉइंट, in the same part write one point here, that EIC promised that EIC promised to pay 26 lakh rupees annually to Mughal emperor. EIC promised to pay 26 lakh rupees annually to Mughal emperor. Okay, in lieu of signing this document. Promised to pay 26 lakh rupees annually, okay, in lieu of signing this document. Okay, right. Next point, EIC also promised to pay 53 lakh rupees annually. EIC also promised to pay 53 lakh rupees annually to Mughal emperor in the lieu of maintaining 53 lakh rupees annually to the Mughal emperor in the lieu of maintaining other administrative affairs or functions of Nizamat. in the lieu of maintaining other administrative, okay, affairs or Nizamat function. Got it? Now tell me, what is the benefit for the East India Company here? They will also pay Mughal Emperor. क्यों पैसा देना शुरू? उनको पता था मुगल एम्परर इज वीकर, बट स्टिल दे आर पेइंग फॉर दैट. व्हाई? देयर राइट्स विल गेट वैलिडेटेड. वो जब रेवेन्यू कलेक्ट करेंगे, एंड व्हेन यू विल से दैट नो दिस रेवेन्यू वी कैन नॉट पे, दिस इज वेरी हाई, दे विल से साहब हम तो नौकर हैं, मालिक तो मुगल एम्परर शाह आलम टू हैं, उन्होंने ही ऑर्डर दिया, हम तो एम्प्लॉय हैं, बस वसूली करने आए हैं, वसूली भाई बन जाएंगे. और दोष किस पे लगेगा? मुगल एम्परर शाह आलम टू पे. तो लोगों को गुस्सा आएगा तो कंपनी पे गुस्सा आएगा कि शाह आलम टू पे? शाह आलम टू पे. और ये आपको ये समझ में ही नहीं आएगा कि आप गुलाम हो गए. मेरी बात समझ गया ना? सो दे आर यूजिंग शाह आलम टू एज अ बफर, एज अ रबर स्टैम्प टू गेट देयर पर्पसेस फुलफिल्ड इन इंडिया. ओके, तो कितने होशियार थे. यही बात तो पोर्टुगीज से सीखी थी. नेवर एक्सपोज योर प्लान्स. ठीक है, स्टडी प्लान्स की बात नहीं हो रही है, वो सब शेयर करना चाहिए. बहुत सारे बच्चे स्टडी प्लान्स भी नहीं शेयर करते. ठीक है, एक मेरी स्टूडेंट थी, तो वो इकोनॉमिक्स पढ़ रही थी, तो मैंने कहा अच्छी कमांड है तुम्हारी इकोनॉमिक्स पे, क्या सोर्सेज है, दूसरे बच्चों को भी बता दिया करो, उनके साथ डिस्कस कर लो. उसने कहा नहीं नहीं, दूसरे बच्चों को तो मैं ये किताबों के नाम बताती हूँ, ठीक है, मैं यहाँ से पढ़ती हूँ. ठीक है, ऐसा नहीं करना है. ओके, गॉट इट? ये समझ में आया? ओके, सो राइट दिस पॉइंट दैट, ओके, in this way EIC used, in this way EIC used Shah Alam II as a means to validate their, as a means to validate their rights. EIC used Shah Alam II as a means to validate rights, and it also used Shah Alam II as a rubber stamp, and it also used Shah Alam II as a rubber stamp, rubber stamp. And this act will do what? इससे क्या हो जाएगा बताओ? इलाहाबाद और कारा एपिसोड से क्या होगा? व्हाट विल हैपन बाय दिस? ओके, so future alliance between these two powers will not be possible. It will create an enmity for the future between Mughal emperor and Awadh state. This is diplomatic, this is divide and rule policy. So you can write this, that this incident, Kara and Allahabad, write this is an expression of their divide and rule policy. This is an expression of their divide and rule policy, because this will create a future enmity between these two powers. This is an expression of their divide and rule policy, because this will create a future enmity between these two powers. It will create a future enmity and conflict between these two powers. Got it? There are other provisions of treaty also that are not asked in our examination. तो उसको पढ़ना चाहिए क्या? नहीं. Info pandemic, terror of information, that is not needed. So we are stopping here. Now the second part is what? Awadh's Nizam. Awadh's Nizam. Which, what are the provision? तो पहला provision तो पता ही हो गया. क्या हो गया? कि Awadh's Nizam was asked to surrender Kara and Allahabad for Shah Alam II. Read this. This is the first provision. To surrender Kara and Allahabad for Shah Alam. Awadh's Nizam was asked to surrender. Awadh's Nizam was asked to surrender Kara and Allahabad for Shah Alam II. Asked to surrender Kara and Allahabad for Shah Alam II. And second point, EIC is a trader. तो अपने एक एक पैसे का हिसाब रखते हैं. Now they will ask Awadh ruler कि you will give us 50 lakh rupees as a compensation of war. खर्च होता था 10 rupees, वसूलते कितने थे? 50 rupees. This is also drain of wealth. So write this. Awadh's Nizam will pay for compensation amount, will pay for compensation amount of 50 lakh rupees, will pay for compensation amount of 50 lakh rupees, will pay for compensation amount of 50 lakh rupees. ये हो गया. Now after this what EIC will do? EIC की यही खास बात थी जिससे लड़ाई की. उसी से दोस्ती भी कर लिया. This is diplomacy. Now they will say Awadh that you have given war compensation amount, you have given Kara and Allahabad, और लड़ाई तो हमने शुरू नहीं की थी, आपने की थी. Now let's do a promise. And what is the promise? We will not create trouble for each other in future. EIC will not create trouble for you, and you will not create trouble for East India Company. We will support and help each other. And now they will develop Awadh as a friendly state of East India Company. Now Awadh will be developed as a friendly state of East India Company. Okay, write this point, that now Awadh was developed as a friendly state of East India Company. Awadh was developed as a friendly state of East India Company. And there is a important concept here that we need to understand. Friendly state. Friendly state. Why EIC is using Awadh as a friendly state? Why EIC is using Awadh as a friendly state? Because EIC wants Awadh to use it as a buffer. Use it as a buffer. EIC want Awadh to use it as a buffer. And buffer is used for what? Protection. For example, we wear helmets. Helmets act like a buffer in case of any accident. ठीक है कि between the surface of the road and between our head there is a buffer which will protect us from getting hurt. So now they will use Awadh as a buffer. Why? Look here. Suppose this is Bengal region. This is Bengal region. And let's consider this is adjoining territories of Awadh. This is adjoining territories of Awadh. Now, which was the most profitable? The presence of EIC in Bengal was most profitable for them. सबसे ज़्यादा profitable क्या था? Bengal. Because till now they have not established all control over all political territories. Now this is what? Profitable presence of East India Company in India. They were gaining enormous profits from Bengal region. They were gaining enormous profits from Bengal region. And what will happen in case of any future invasion and conflict? Trade and commerce will be disrupted. And they are good traders. They don't like to get the trade and commerce disrupted from the Bengal region. So what they will do? For example, there was a future threat of invasion of Marathas. Marathas यहाँ भी पहुँच सकते हैं. Okay. There was a future threat for invasion of Afghans. Afghans का भी threat बना हुआ था. Why I am saying Afghan threat? Because Ahmad Shah Abdali was an Afghan adventurer or not? And between this period 1748 to 1756 he invaded multiple times or not? कई बार उसने अटैक किया था. और अहमद शाह अब्दाली अटैक क्यों करता था? पैसा लूटने के लिए. और बंगाल में क्या था? पैसा. दूसरे अफगान एडवेंचरर्स ग्रुप भी आ सकते थे when they will become familiar, okay, that in Bengal there is a lot of money, they can come to invade. Now what East India Company is doing? East India Company will use Awadh as a friendly state, and this friendly state will protect Bengal from the future invasion or threat of Marathas and Afghans. So here they used Bengal as a buffer. बंगाल को किस रूप में यूज किया? बफर के रूप में. This is the diplomacy. Okay, so always remember 1765 is the year when Bengal was developed as a friendly state and it was made as a buffer zone for the protection of most profitable interests of East India Company in Bengal region. Now what will happen? Another important fact you can write here. This will, again we will discuss later. Write 1801. 1801. EIC also signed subsidiary alliance with Awadh. बताओ, जो पहले से ही दोस्त है, आपकी हेल्प एंड सपोर्ट कर रहा है, उसके साथ आपने जबरदस्ती सब्सिडी अलायंस साइन कर लिया. ओके. EIC also signed subsidiary alliance with Awadh in which year? 1801. Okay. 1801. I have already discussed with you the meaning of subsidiary alliance. पता है ना आपको? Okay. This is what? Establishing indirect control over that particular state. And now the next important information here, right? 1856 1856, right? 1856, right? East India Company, okay, established, or you can say that annexed Awadh, forcefully annexed Awadh, made it a part of the British Indian Empire. Forcefully annexed Awadh, made it a part of British Indian Empire on the pretext of misgovernance. On the pretext of misgovernance. East India Company forcefully annexed Awadh, made it a part of, okay, British Indian Empire on pretext of misgovernance. इससे क्या पता चलता है? अवध वॉज लॉयल फ्रॉम विच ईयर? 1765. लेकिन लास्टली आते जबरदस्ती अवध पे कब्जा कर लिया बहाना आरोप लगा के. दैट वाज अ प्रिटेक्स्ट, बहाना था कि आपके यहाँ एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ठीक से नहीं चल रहा है, तो वो हम चलाएंगे. एंड दैट्स व्हाई वी आर एनेक्सिंग द स्टेट. विल इट क्रिएट डिससेटिस्फेक्शन? यस. दे विल डिसबैंड द आर्मी ऑफ अवध. The talukadars of Awadh will become unemployed, and they all will support which revolt? Revolt of 1857. So Awadh played a very important role in 1857 revolt. Awadh realized कोई सगा नहीं जिसको ठगा नहीं. ठीक है, ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी का यही कैरेक्टर है. सो राइट दिस. ओके, in revolt of 1857 Awadh played a very important role. In revolt of 1857 Awadh played a very important role. ठीक है, ये जो सब्सिडरी अलायंस और ये सारे कॉन्टेक्स्ट हैं वी विल डिस्कस लेटर. अवध प्लेड वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रोल. क्या हुआ? अवध वाज फोर्स्ड टू पे व्हाट? वॉर कंपेंसेशन अमाउंट 50 लाख रुपीस. अवध लॉस्ट इट्स टेरिटरीज ऑफ कारा एंड इलाहाबाद. अवध प्रोटेक्टेड द कॉमर्शियल इंटरेस्ट ऑफ ब्रिटिश इन बंगाल फॉर मेनी ईयर्स. Then subsidiary alliance was imposed on it. 1801 mark this year important for prelims. 1801 this year is important for prelims. This is also important for prelims. All this information is important for prelims. ठीक है ना? Now Awadh and Mughal Emperor Shah Alam II will never become friends again. दोबारा दोस्ती होगी नहीं? नहीं होगी ना? Now what they will do? Now we are coming to the again this topic, that is Bengal region. Bengal region. Now the entire political system of Bengal region was in the control of East India Company. And I have already discussed with you that when Treaty of Allahabad was signed, who was the Nawab of Bengal? The Nawab of Bengal was Jan Nazimuddaulah. Okay, he was the Nawab of Bengal, right? This clear? Now, what will happen? This Nawab of Bengal was the minor son of Mir Zafar, right? So obviously he was the puppet Nawab. He was the puppet Nawab. Now I am going to discuss a very important topic with you, and that is system of administration in Bengal. System of administration in Bengal. Obviously, who is going to control all this system of administration? EIC. So here EIC introduced a system of administration that is known as dual system of administration. Dual system of administration in Bengal region. That is a very important topic. And this dual system of administration in Bengal region was continued from 1765 to 1772. It means for 7 years, this dual system of Bengal, dual system of administration was seen in Bengal. Okay. And here the system of administration completely collapsed. There was no any system at all. नाम है इसका dual system of administration. And this was a classical case of corrupt practices and administration in Bengal. This was a classical case of corrupt practices and administration in Bengal. Dual system of governance. ठीक है? Classical case of corrupt system and administration in Bengal region. Okay. This was also an example of corporate conspiracy. This was also an example of corporate conspiracy corporate conspiracy, corporate violence, and corporate corruption in India. Was also an excellent example of corporate conspiracy, corporate violence, and corporate corruption in India. Okay, a classical case that how a company, what is the impact of giving administrative rights of a company. You will be surprised to know that due to this dual system of administration, okay, almost one third of population of Bengal died here. And how they died, I will discuss. Within 7 years, what we see, that you can write here that almost one third of population of Bengal suffered. One third of population of Bengal suffered and died. Suffered and died. That's why I have written here corporate conspiracy and corporate violence. They suffered and died. One third population. And during these 7 years phase, in the year 1770, there is a famine in Bengal. In the year 1770, there is a famine in Bengal, and this is called Great Famine. This is called Great Famine of 1770. There is a famine in Bengal, and this famine is called Great Famine in Bengal. Why we are using this word great? Due to its intensity. Okay, so we also have to understand that famines and droughts are natural also and man-made also. In ancient India also there were famines. For example, during the time of Chandragupta Maurya, there was a 12 years famine. We all know Chandragupta Maurya went to Shravan This episode you all know. So famines and droughts are not new, but famines and droughts are man-made also. And here in British period, what we see that the famines and droughts are man-made. And when famines and droughts will be man-made, what will be the result? The intensity of these famines and droughts will increase. The number of casualties in these famines and droughts will increase. And the government, will it be able to provide administrative help and support in case of famines? No, the government is very insensitive and the government is not providing administrative help and support here. That is happening. Okay, so later we will also discuss a topic that is famines and droughts in India. What are the famine policy and all this? But here, this is a basic understanding that famines and droughts are man-made also. During British period, what we see, the intensity of these famines and droughts increases. Their frequency increases. Their impact increases due to the insensitive administration and governance in India. That is the main point here. Got it? Okay. Now, we are going to discuss this point. So, first I will discuss two important facts here. Dual system of administration in Bengal was introduced by whom? It was introduced by Clive. Clive. I have discussed with you the second governorship of Clive is during this period, na? 1765 to 1767. Isse relate karo. Clive introduced dual system of governance in Bengal. Now the second important fact, who ended this dual system of governance? Kisne khatam kiya tha? Who ended this dual system of governance? So the answer is Warren Hastings. There are two names, Lord Hastings and Warren Hastings. In exam the names are interchanged. Prelims exam mein dhyan rakhna hai. Always take care of these things. So who abolished this system? So write this, Warren Hastings. Warren Hastings ended this system, that is dual system of administration in Bengal. And what is the time period of Warren Hastings? तो यहाँ पे आप लिख लेना that we will use it again. That is Warren Hastings time period is 1772 to 1785. This is the time period of Warren Hastings. ठीक है, तो इससे पता चल जाएगा that Warren Hastings came and abolished dual system of governance. ठीक है ना? So these two facts clear. For 7 years it was implemented. 1765 started, 1772 it's ended. It was started by whom? Clive. It was ended by whom? Warren Hastings. Started in which year? 1765. Ended in which year? 1772. Clear? Now we are going to discuss this system. That what is this system? Why it's called dual. Okay. So now we are going to discuss the system and why we are calling it dual, right? That is the point here. So right, system. And why we are calling this system dual? Dual कहने के पीछे reason क्या है? Okay. So the reason is that we are talking about Bengal. In Bengal is the Nawab. We all know this is Nawab. I am writing the word Nawab. ठीक है ना? Nawab. Now on other side here there is another important player, that is East India Company, because Mughal emperor has given East India Company what? Diwani rights. You all have discussed this. Mughal emperor has given East India Company Diwani rights. Okay, by the Treaty of Allahabad, they have got Diwani rights. And Diwani right is basically क्या है? Right of collection of land revenues. This is Diwani right. Now who collect revenues? Administrator. कौन collect करेगा? Administrator. Now tell me that East India Company, it's a commercial body only, or it has now become an administrative body also? This is added role and responsibility. So what we see that the Mughal emperor gave East India Company Diwani rights. It means now East India Company is a commercial body, plus it has assumed a new role. It has assumed a new role. And this role is what? It's an administrative body also. It's an administrative body also because it's collecting land revenues. This right has been validated by Mughal emperor, and it's collecting land revenue not only from Bengal but from Bengal, Bihar and Odisha region all. This part you have understood? Now the second important part, Mughal emperor Shah Alam II से क्या कहा था? We will also help in administration, also provide help and support in administration. Now how they will do this? This is very easy. Now EIC will appoint its representative here. EIC will appoint its representative. Representative is also known by this name of deputy, and it's also known as Nayab. Nayab means what? Representative. Deputy. Nayab. Nayab simply means what? Representative or deputy. So here there is a Nawab, and then there will be a Deputy Nawab. Deputy Nizam. Basically this is called Deputy Nizam or Deputy Nawab or Deputy Subedar. There are different words for it used in different books. Deputy Subedar. Okay, this is deputy. ठीक है, जैसे सीएम के साथ साथ एक डेप्यूटी सीएम सेंटर लगा देती है, ठीक है, तो बेचारा सीएम बैठा रहता है, सारी बात बताता रहता है वो सेंटर को. इन द सेम वे दिस इज व्हाट? डेप्यूटी. नवाब का डेप्यूटी हो गया. नाउ हु इज अपॉइंटिंग दिस डेप्यूटी? ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी. Who can change this deputy? East India Company. This deputy will report to whom? East India Company. ठीक है, so this is the representative of East India Company. Now देखो, Diwani right, land revenue collection right, it has already with East India Company. Now other administrative rights were, other administrative rights or functions of administration, other administrative rights or functions of administration. तो दीवानी को अगर हम माइनस कर दें तो other administrative rights or functions of administration are called Nizamat rights. That is called Nizamat rights. One right is called Diwani right, one right is called Nizamat right, other rights are Nizamat rights. ठीक है, जैसे नाले वाले बनवाने हैं, दूसरे एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव वर्क्स है, वो सब काम किस में आ जाएगा? निजामत में. मतलब जहां भी पैसा खर्च करने वाला काम आ गया वो किधर आ गया? निजामत में. मेंटेनिंग लॉ एंड ऑर्डर. और जहां पैसा वसूलने वाला काम है वो किसके पास है? इट इज डायरेक्टली कंट्रोल्ड बाय ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी. ठीक है, देख लो यहाँ पे मनी, इट मीन्स द रेवेन्यू जो है, ठीक है, जो इनकमिंग है, इट इज इन डायरेक्ट कंट्रोल ऑफ ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी. डायरेक्ट कंट्रोल. और एक्सपेंसेस, maintaining other administrative works will incur expenses, and now all Nizamat rights are in the hands of Nawab. Okay, expenses are in the hands of Nawab. और तीसरा इसमें important point क्या है? That the deputy Nizam or the deputy Subedar will perform all the Nizamat tasks ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ नवाब, यानी नवाब आराम से बैठो, कोई परेशान नहीं होना, आप घर पे बैठे रहो और आपका सारा काम कौन देख लेगा, डेप्यूटी निजाम। ये भी था। ओके, सो दिस इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट, राइट? दिस पर्सन इज डेप्यूटी निजाम, राइट? he will look after he will look after he will look after all nizamat functions on behalf of nawab. He will look after all nizamat functions on behalf of nawab. He will look after all nizamat functions on behalf of nawab. नवाब तो बेरोजगार हो गया, राइट? नाउ in theory this is what dual administration. One right is directly controlled by East India Company and the second right is indirectly controlled by East India Company. But in practice, this is dual or not? Practice में तो ये dual है ही नहीं, ये केवल theory में dual है. Because in practice, who is controlling all affairs? Yeah, I see. So in theory it's dual, but when we observe minutely, this is not dual. यहाँ सब कुछ ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी के हाथ में है. यहाँ ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी डायरेक्टली कंट्रोल कर रही राइट्स को, और यहाँ पे क्या है, इनडायरेक्टली कंट्रोल कर रही है. So why it's called dual? Do you understand? Clear? There is a dual center of control. One center of control is EIC. One center of control is Nawab. EIC controlling which rights? Diwani rights. Nawab controlling which functions? Nizamat functions. But actually Nawab is not controlling. The deputy or representative of EIC is controlling on behalf of Nawab. So in practice this is not dual. Practice में dual नहीं है. मेरी बात समझ गया? This is called dual right. Now what East India Company will do? They will be more focused on collection of more and more revenues, or they will be more focused on maintaining tasks of administration. ध्यान कहाँ रहेगा? Exactly. पैसा आना चाहिए, खर्चा नहीं करेंगे. This is called EIC has got power and this power is without responsibility. They will stop spending money on the tasks of administration. When famine will come, what they will do? They will stop spending money on the task of administration. मेरी बात समझ गया? So here EIC has got immense power. EIC has got immense power, and this immense power is power without responsibility. This immense power is what? Power without responsibility. Now just imagine a government which is not focused in performing other administrative activities, बिल्कुल ध्यान नहीं हो, और अगर ये सिचुएशन 7 years तक मेंटेन हो जाए आज के टाइम में भी, तो क्या होगा आप इमेजिन कर लो. The same happened in Bengal. Okay, got it? This is called dual system of governance, right? And in this stage what we see that the Bengal was looted or plundered by company. So Bengal emerged as a plundered state. Right? This Bengal was looted and plundered by EIC. Bengal was looted and plundered by EIC. ठीक है? Bengal was looted and plundered by EIC. Right, next point. Complete breakdown of administration. Complete breakdown of administration. Complete breakdown of administration. Bengal was looted, plundered by EIC. This is what? A complete breakdown of administration. Right, next point. Okay. अब एक आप बताओ अगली बात, complete breakdown of administration. Okay. Entire Bengal market now was monopolized by EIC. Their focus will be what? To buy cheaper and to sell dearer. Now what they will encourage and what they will discourage? They will encourage the production of raw silk and they will discourage the production of silk cloths, ready-made silk cloth. ध्यान से समझना इस बात को. This is not only about silk, this is just an example. It means they will promote a policy where they will promote, okay, the manufacture or growing of raw cotton, raw silk, and they will discourage what? Manufactured goods. They will discourage what? Handicraft. वो यही करेंगे ना. And when you as a peasant you are producing raw silk or raw cotton, what they will do? They will pay you, okay, the accurate prices, adequate prices, justified prices, or they will forcefully buy it at very cheaper prices? They will forcefully buy it at very cheaper prices. Will it be able to impoverish the peasantry class? क्या peasantry class गरीब होगा? Yes. Decline in handicraft होगा? Yes. Custom policy में discrimination होगा? Yes. The entire market sentiments will be disturbed. Okay, this will happen. Okay, and who is getting immense benefits from Bengal during this phase? The rich economic resources of Bengal were looted and they were taken to Britain, and in this way the process of drain of wealth had started. ठीक है? अच्छा, इस फेज में जब ऐसा होगा, okay, so obviously when there will be impoverishment, when the government will not focus on the development of agriculture, when the government will not focus on providing irrigation facilities, so what about agriculture production and productivity? It will increase or it will come down? It will decline, right? So there will be lack of food crops. Clear? Will it create the situation of famine and drought? Yes. Okay, if there is some you can say that outbreak of disease, the government, will it provide help and support? No. If there is any famine and the drought, the government will do what? Will they give relaxations in the revenue? Yes or no? No, they will not give any relaxations in revenue. Okay, they will not minimize the rate of revenue. They will not say that the revenues are relaxed for this period. Okay, आपको लगान फिल्म पता है, रेवेन्यू नहीं माफ होगा, क्रिकेट खेलना पड़ेगा, टीम बनानी पड़ेगी, तब जाके लगान माफ होगा. ठीक है, सो दे विल नॉट गिव एनी रिलैक्सेशन टू द रेवेन्यू even during the time of droughts and famines. Previously, the local rulers were giving relaxation to the revenues to the peasants in case of droughts and famines. So what will be the long-term impact of this? This is what? Man-made circumstances which will increase the frequency of famines and droughts, and it will also increase the intensity of famines and droughts. मेरी बात समझ गया? तो ब्रिटिश पीरियड में फेमाइन्स एंड ड्रॉट्स बढ़े, हाँ, और इसका एक एग्जाम्पल अभी आपने देखा, द ग्रेट फेमाइन ऑफ बंगाल इन द ईयर 1770. गॉट इट? ओके, लोकल इंडस्ट्रीज वेर ruined. Okay, and this system of administration in Bengal, that is known as dual system of administration, is also criticized in Britain. And who is criticizing dual system of administration in Britain? कुछ गेस करो कौन क्रिटिसाइज कर रहा है ब्रिटेन में? जस्ट गेस करो और सोचो. और याद करो. व्हेन ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी वाज गिवन चार्टर, चार्टर मीन्स मोनोपोलिस्टिक राइट्स. Monopolistic rights means the right to do trade and commerce with India, which was very profitable, was given to one company only. So what about the other individual traders, merchants of Britain? ठीक है, उनको पता है कि this person has got job in East India Company, has gone to India and is returning with huge wealth. इतना सारा पैसा लेके आ रहा है. तो जो ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी ज्वाइन कर रहा है, जैसे इंडिया में सिविल सर्विसेज का क्रेज का एक रीजन ये भी था, करप्शन जो अब कम होता चला जा रहा है, इसलिए लोग जॉब छोड़ छोड़ के टीचर बन जा रहे हैं, राइट? सो एट दैट टाइम व्हाट वाज हैपनिंग? EIC, देयर वाज अ लॉट ऑफ करप्शन. हाँ, ये रियलिटी है, ठीक है, ठीक है. तो देयर वाज अ लॉट ऑफ करप्शन. So those people who were joining East India Company services, they were going to India and they were coming, they were returning with huge wealth. And in Britain, they become new aristocrat class. तो जो खानदानी रईस हैं उनको टेंशन हो जाती थी, ये तो नया नया रईस बन गया, ठीक है. वो गाना है ना, अभी तो इसकी दौलत नई नई है, तो पुराने लोग चिढ़ते हैं, एरिस्टोक्रेटिक क्लास चिढ़ता है कि भाई हम खानदानी रईस हैं और हमसे ज़्यादा रईस ये हो गया. नाउ दोज ऑफिशियल्स हु आर रिटर्निंग टू ब्रिटेन, दे वर क्रिटिसाइज्ड एज नवाब्स. लोग चिढ़ाते उनको, और नवाब साहब आ गए, चिढ़ाते उनको. क्लाइव को देखा, बेचारे के पास चेतक स्कूटर था, आया तो BMW थी टॉप मॉडल, तो दूसरे लोग टेंशन में आ ही जाएंगे. तो देखो, देयर वाज अ क्लास इन ब्रिटेन व्हिच वाज नॉट हैप्पी विद द मोनोपोलिस्टिक राइट्स ऑफ ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी. दे आल्सो वांट देयर सन्स एंड डॉटर्स टू गो टू इंडिया टू ज्वाइन द प्रॉफिटेबल ट्रेड इन इंडिया. बताओ, हम लोग अभी जाते टूर वूर पे, उधर लंदन वंदन जाते, वो सब कहाँ आ रहे थे? इंडिया आ रहे थे. अब आप खुद सोचो, ठीक है, आज तो काफी हम डेवलप्ड है, फिर भी उस समय वो सब इंडिया आना चाह रहे थे. सो देयर मस्ट बी सम रीजन ना. So they were continuously opposing monopolistic rights of East India Company. वो बार बार कह रहे थे कि ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी की मोनोपोलिस्टिक राइट्स खत्म करो. अच्छा बताओ, जैसे ही ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी की मोनोपोलिस्टिक राइट्स खत्म होगी, इसका इम्पैक्ट क्या होगा? द अदर्स विल ऑल्सो गेट द राइट टू डू ट्रेड एंड कॉमर्स, यही होगा ना? So there was a class in Britain who wanted to get its share from the profitable trade and commerce in India, but it was not possible due to monopolistic rights of East India Company. So whenever they will get any news, any information that East India Company is not performing well, the profits of East India Company is decline, East India Company system of administration in India is highly criticized, the company is not administering India, so they will come forward, they will raise slogans, they will come with placard that monopolistic rights of EIC must be ended. So this dual system of governance was highly criticized in Britain. What was the impact? वॉरेन हेस्टिंग्स वाज सेंट टू इंडिया, कहा जाओ भाई ये प्रॉब्लम ठीक करो. वॉरेन हेस्टिंग्स केम टू इंडिया इन विच ईयर? 1772. And what he did, he abolished dual system of governance. And British government also did what? They did what? British parliament did what? First time interference in the administrative activities of East India Company in the form of Regulating Act 1773. कुछ लिंक एस्टैब्लिश हुआ. ड्यूअल सिस्टम ऑफ गवर्नेंस इतना बुरा था कि इंडिया में एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन को ठीक करने के लिए वॉरेन हेस्टिंग्स को भेजा गया. वॉरेन हेस्टिंग्स ने आते ही ड्यूअल सिस्टम ऑफ गवर्नेंस को बंद कर दिया. एंड देन द ब्रिटिश पार्लियामेंट पास्ड एन एक्ट. This was the first time interference of British Parliament in the activities of East India Company in India. कब दिया चार्टर, कब दिया मोनोपोलिस्टिक राइट? 1600. और 1773 कितने साल बाद? After 173 years, British Parliament came with a legislation to regulate, कान खींचना ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी का, to regulate the affairs of East India Company in India. So all these events are connected, are correlated. मेरी बात समझ गया ना? रेगुलेटिंग एक्ट तो हम बाद में डिस्कस करेंगे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल डेवलपमेंट के साथ. सो राइट दिस पॉइंट. ओके, द ड्यूअल सिस्टम ऑफ एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, dual system of administration in Bengal was highly criticized. It was highly criticized not only in India but also outside India. It was highly criticized not only in India but also outside India. But also outside India. That is in Britain. But also outside India. That is in Britain. It was highly criticized not only in India but also outside India. That is Britain. Right. Next point. Warren Hastings was sent to India to solve this challenge. Warren Hastings was sent to India to solve this challenge. Right in bracket 1772 to 1785. Warren Hastings was sent to India to solve this challenge. The year is 1772 to 1785. Right, next point. Warren Hastings ended or abolished dual system of administration in the year 1772. Warren Hastings ended or abolished dual system of administration in the year 1772. Warren Hastings ended or abolished dual system of administration in the year 1772. Got it? And also initiated a series of administrative reforms in India, जो कि हम बाद में डिस्कस करेंगे. ठीक है ना? एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव रिफॉर्म्स ऑफ हेस्टिंग्स, क्लाइव, कॉर्नवालिस, ये सब बाद में करेंगे. एंड ऑल्सो इनिशिएटेड अ सीरीज ऑफ administrative reforms in India. Highlight this: series of administrative reforms in India, and in bracket right will be discussed later. ठीक है? This is very important. We should know that what are the reforms initiated by Warren Hastings, what are the reforms initiated by Cornwallis, सब जानना है हमें. Right? Right. Next point. Okay. Pressure was mounted on the British government. Pressure was mounted on the British government. Pressure was mounted on the British government, and pressure was mounted on the British government, and for the first time British Parliament interfered in the for the first time British Parliament interfered in the administrative activities of EIC in India interfered in the administrative activities of EIC in India, administrative activities of EIC in India by administrative activities of EIC in India by introducing a legislation for this purpose. By introducing a legislation for this purpose. By introducing a legislation for this purpose, and that was Regulating Act 1773. By introducing a legislation for this purpose, and that was Regulating Act 1773. वो क्या था? Regulating Act 1773. This also will be discussed later. ठीक है, in the constitutional development topic. इसको भी discuss करेंगे. Got it? समझ में आया? देखो थोड़ा स्लो पढ़ा रहा हूँ, उसका एक रीज़न है, बार बार मैं बता रहा हूँ कि बुक आपको नहीं पढ़ना पड़ेगा, राइट? सो दिस इज बेटर दैट इफ आई टेक सम मोर क्लासेस देयर इज नो नीड ऑफ रीडिंग एनी बुक. पीवाईक्यू भी सारे यूपीएससी के क्वेश्चन आप कर लोगे क्लास से, ठीक है? तो थोड़ा स्टेट पीसीएस भी देख लेना, ठीक है? यूपी पीसीएस के सारे क्वेश्चंस देख जाना, ओके? ये कसम नहीं खाना है कि यूपीएससी की तैयारी कर रहे हैं तो हम स्टेट. एक बच्चे ने मेरे पास कॉल किया, और सर हम कैसे स्टेट पीसीएस का क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करें, इससे तो हमारी तैयारी मतलब गलत डायरेक्शन में चली जाएगी. मैंने कहा सही है, तुम फिर सही डायरेक्शन में चलते रहो. ऐसे बहुत सारे बच्चे हैं जो स्टेट पीसीएस भी क्लियर करते हैं, यूपीएससी भी टॉप कर जाते हैं, ठीक है? तो इट डिपेंड्स ऑन यू, कितना स्मार्ट अप्रोच है आपके पास. जितना ज़्यादा प्रैक्टिस करोगे दिस विल अल्टीमेटली हेल्प यू इन द एग्जाम ना. और यूपीएससी का ट्रेंड पता ही है, कभी फैक्चुअल हो जाता है, कभी कॉन्सेप्ट बेस्ड क्वेश्चन हो जाते हैं. तो यू शुड बी ऑलवेज रेडी एंड प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर दैट एग्जाम, ठीक है? नाउ द नेक्स्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग दैट इज I was starting a exclusive lecture series, okay? Record some important topics, okay? And I will select topics like first topic I have selected that princely states, their role in Indian national movement. Then I will select the topic like integration of princely states, okay? Then I will select the third topic, that is the process of state formation in India, that is related to polity. In the same way I will take the topics from ancient India also, what was the status of slavery in ancient India, और इस तरह के बहुत सारे ऐसे topics हैं. So in that topic when I will discuss, okay, I can record it by myself also, but when I will discuss, I think that if some students will join, so the session will be more interactive and you can ask your doubts also. But those lectures will be important only for those students, okay, who are having some understanding of history. मेरी बात समझ गए? This is a foundation class where I am starting each and everything from scratch, and in that lecture I will relate a lot of things. If you think that there are some students, your friends who are writing mains, or okay, if they want to raise their doubts regarding that topic, तो वो topic तो मैं पहले post कर देता हूँ. You are open to ask any question regarding that topic. जो पूछना है पूछो, I will not discourage any question, okay? I will share the timings, so those who wish to join can join the interactive session, ठीक है ना? I will record, but if you will wish to join, you can join. So I will share the timing in the broadcast list, okay? So if you manage time, so you can join, and most probably I will record that session, okay, from 9 PM to 11 PM. ज़्यादा chances हो सकता है in the night, because at that time I am not free. तो जो लोग ज्वाइन करना चाहो कर सकते हो, ठीक है? मतलब पहले मैंने बता दिया, थोड़ा एडवांटेज आपका भी हो जाएगा कि कैसे कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव थीम्स को समझते हैं, ठीक है? इसमें तो हम क्या कर रहे हैं, बच्चों की तरह पढ़ रहे हैं, लाइक वी आर रीडिंग ईच एंड एवरीथिंग, ठीक है? सो दैट विल बी अ डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ एक्सपीरियंस फॉर यू, ओके? सो यू विल लर्न टू कनेक्ट द थीम्स एंड ऑल दिस, ठीक है ना? एनी डाउट, एनी क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम एनी वन ऑफ यू? नहीं? चलिए, so we'll join again next day. Thanks to all of you. Welcome. Yes, please. No, this अब देखो, इलाहाबाद he wanted because historically that is important for the Mughal emperors, ठीक है? And British will help Mughal emperor to get इलाहाबाद because अगला प्लान उनका है इसको लाल किला से उठा के कहाँ शिफ्ट करना. मेरी बात समझ गए? Now the British authorities later will try to shift the center of Mughal power from Delhi to इलाहाबाद, ठीक है? उन्होंने मराठों के साथ भी किया था, ठीक है? ऊना से कहाँ लेके चले आए, कानपुर. दैट वाज अ पार्ट ऑफ देयर स्ट्रेटेजी. ठीक है, so they did this for a purpose. Got it? Okay. Okay, thanks to all of you.